Hey guys, James here, and today I have my friend Anti-Player with me. We're doing a dual commentary here, and we're having a conversation about Titanfall. We talk about some reasons we're excited for the game, some concerns we have, some other, random stuff thrown in there too. I think we cover a lot, and it's a pretty long video, so hopefully you guys enjoy.
So Titanfall is rumored to be having an open beta on Valentine's
Day.
I'm excited about Titanfall. I think it's gonna be a pretty sick game. I don't think it'll be a COD killer or anything, but I think it's gonna be a fun game to add to my arsenal of FPS. I have Call of Duty, I have Battlefield, I have other FPS and MMOs and stuff, and I think it'll be a fun balance between those games. What do you think?
Yeah, I think balance is the key word. It's going to be something that has elements almost of all these different games, because the way I kind of look at the Titans is they're almost like tanks, so it has that vehicle element of Battlefield.
Sure.
But then of course there's the ground combat between the pilots. So that's more, that's more Call of Duty. So I think it does have elements of a bunch of different games. And if they can balance all of that correctly, I think it'll be really fun.
I think it's definitely more like with Battlefield, you can obviously play we play domination and we play team deathmatch with no vehicles involved at all. So it's kind of forces you to get used to that dynamic, which I think will open up the whatever you want to call it. It'll open up the game genre to future iterations of the game, to kind of more different game types that involve vehicles, where people aren't going to not play a game because they're afraid of vehicles. It kind of seems like there is with Battlefield. People don't go to that franchise because they don't think it can be like Call of Duty in any way, which in a lot of ways it can be. Like if you play Domination or TDM, I think it'll kind of bust open that genre a little bit and break some of the traditional forms that FPS is kind of sat in.
You say not a COD killer, so why not?
I would say it's not a COD killer, and the reasons it's not a COD killer is because, first of all, it's only going to be, at least for the first year, on PC and Xbox, and I don't think you could isolate that big of audience would receive, PS4 has right now, as it currently stands, 1 million more units sold than the Xbox. So I don't think you can isolate that big of an audience and then expect it to kind of take over the whole genre. I think it might do something similar to what Halo has done.
Yeah, I was just going to say Halo, before Call of Duty, Halo almost was that big thing, even though it only was one platform. But since there are games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, even though they might not be the most well received right now, I think the fact that there is that on PS4 as well will kind of keep those games relevant, even if Titanfall is an amazing game, even if it does live up to all the hype or exceed the hype if that's possible. I think just the fact that it's not on that one platform, just the fact that it's not there, it'll kind of keep it from completely taking over.
And I think I'll kind of move into what could destroy that hype. It's pretty hyped. I'm trying not to get too hyped about it, and the reason I try not to get too hyped about it is because of EA. They've kind of they've kind of fumbled some launches recently. Whether we see Battlefield launches pretty fumbled, and also SimCity was also pretty fumbled. And while I don't play SimCity too much, it's a pretty big game. People were looking forward to that, and they kind of messed it up with Always Online and all that stuff. So EA has a recent history of messing up some launches, and so possibly could see a mistake. And another point I have on that is Battlefield Open Beta went down pretty smoothly. I was pretty happy, and when the game launched, I felt like the game had recessed rather than taking those steps to improve, if that makes sense.
For us on PC especially, there were a lot of the issues with frames and the game running smoothly and all that. The beta wasn't great in that way, but you kind of sat back and said, well, it's the beta, they'll have that a little bit more straightened out by the time it actually launches. But then, even though I think frames were fine at launch, but just so much other stuff took a step back, no cues, no sound sometimes. So a lot of that stuff really did take a step back. And then you said the Always Online was kind of what killed SimCity at first. Well, in Titanfall, there's no single player. There's no campaign, story, anything like that. 90% of the people that buy the game pretty much only want to play the multiplayer. But still, it's nice to have that single player to fall back on if there are early server issues. Because, pretty much every first-person shooter, the first couple of days, there are going to be those server issues. And that's a good opportunity to go, kind of get used to the gameplay mechanics by playing the single player. And this game just doesn't have that to fall back on. So that might end up being a mistake. It depends on how the launch goes.
I think what they're trying to do with Titanfall is they're trying to give some players the single player experience by showing and allowing AI to be playing with you on the battlefield. Now the games are going to be, they've confirmed 6v6 physical human matches, PvP, and then there's going to be up to 48 players total. So this could include your Titan following you around. You can either pilot it or you can have it follow you around and kind of shoot targets for you. It probably won't be as good as if you're actually in it, but also there's going to be AI kind of in and out of the matches. Now I think that they include those things could kind of give it more of a single player feel. However, I don't know that they'll achieve that. So yeah, that could be a concern. I know for me personally, I don't buy games for their single player campaigns. Like I didn't play Ghost campaign yet. I might. And I didn't play any of Battlefield 4's campaign yet. And the only real campaign I ever remember playing is COD 4 back in the day. I just don't play campaigns. So for some people like me, and I think there are more people like me out there, like it won't be as big of an issue, I guess.
Yeah, like, I mean, the communities that are kind of coming together for this game, I would say mainly Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Sure.
Because, EA and then Respawn being from COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Mm-hmm. Like, that isn't a big single-player thing. That's sort of an add-on. It like switched from, way back when the multiplayer was the add-on. Now it's like the single-player is the add-on. Like I said, it would be something that's nice. And you mentioned, like, all the AI that they're putting in. That could either make or break the game. Because with so much stuff roaming, you really have to hope that they are taking a lot of time to balance that. And I mean, not even just like the fact that, some people are on the ground and some people are in these giant mechs, just a soldier or pilot as they call them versus a giant robot. You also have to, take into account the AI robots, the AI, just all that AI.
Yeah.
If it doesn't balance up, then that could really ruin the game.
It could definitely. I think what they should do, and I think what they probably are doing, is they might use the AI to kind of complement your strategy. So if you're shooting at a guy, maybe the AI will focus its attention at that. Now I want to bring up like a game that kind of used similar like dynamics within the game. Brink used similar dynamics. They had AI in game. We both played that game. It flopped terribly, but it had a lot of promise, and it took that class-based system and it kind of ventured out a little bit further than I think it should have at first. And so you're in a game, you decide you got to go, you back out, your character is automatically filled with an AI player. So you could be playing a whole game with two of your friends, constantly playing against AI. Now, I think that keeps the game flowing. So I think that that's a strength that they have. If the AI are smart enough, and I think they've come far enough with that, if the AI are smart enough, if a person backs out of a game, it doesn't kill the game. If two people back out of the game, especially 6v6, it doesn't completely kill the game. Of 6v4, or three people back out, 6v3. Could potentially, if the AI are smart enough, maybe they could take the attributes of a player who just backed out. Maybe the player is really accurate. Maybe that player likes to do certain tactics. He plays defensively, he plays the objective, something like that. Maybe that takes that attributes of the player that just left, maybe downscales them a bit and doesn't leave the team kind of that he left out to dry. So maybe they could balance it out that way.
Just from Call of Duty, a lot of times I run in a full party, pretty much always, and we'll go up against another team and it won't start out well for them and they'll all just leave, and that kind of, I guess we kind of ruined their game experience by trying to dominate them. But it ruins our game experience too then, because we were having fun and then boom, they're gone. And obviously you don't want to play just against AI, but you earn your Titan and then everyone leaves and it's like, oh well, that kind of stinks. But now it could kind of refill people in slowly or whatever they want to do with that, so that you don't feel like you just wasted your time by playing well and earning something.
Yeah, and it does feel also, I've heard some stuff like saying that the game is designed so that per game on average, everyone should get at least one Titan. They design it so it's attainable. Right. I think the way I've compared it in my head is back in COD 4, if you got 5 kills, you get an airstrike. And I think 5 kills for a lot of people could be doable. If you play smart and like that, you're not going to do that. Like, not do that a lot of times per game, but for people who are really good, they get multiple. So I think just engaging players, allowing them to at least feel like it's that reward system with the games that keeps people playing it. That's why COD is so popular. It rewards players with emblems and unlocks and all this stuff constantly. And so I think that keeps players engaged. So I think if they do that well, maybe players won't back away because they feel like they are terrible. But maybe like, hey, I got one Titan this game, maybe next game, or maybe like a couple weeks I can get 2 in a game on average or something like that. So it kind of gives them something to aim at for achievement.
It's something more to look forward to. It's like the classic kill streak thing, just there's the 3 Titans instead of choppers and all this crazy stuff they put into like Call of Duty with kill streaks. Okay, I died at 4 kills here, so maybe next life I play a little bit smarter, I'll get the 5th kill and then that'll take me to my chopper, and then it's that same type of feeling where it's like you get rewarded for just playing just a little bit better, like marginally better. You get just a lot more rewards,
and that makes the game more competitive and adds to that whole, it feeds into that whole system system, which I think they are trying to develop, which it looks like right now they've got. So let's talk about the Ogre, the Strider, and the Atlas, the 3 different types of Titans. What are your thoughts on those?
It's like the 3 classic sort of ways of going about something like that. It's, you got your tanky one, which is the Ogre. It can take more damage, but it's slow. And then you got your Strider, that's just the straight up speed, agility one. It'll run circles around the Ogre, but like in a straight up fight, it's not as well equipped. Then of course you got your middle ground with the Atlas that can do some of both, but not as good as either of the others at the specific qualities. So I think it is good balance. As long as, we say that the Atlas is like a perfect hybrid right now. We obviously don't know that. And we don't know that the tank abilities of the Ogre will be perfectly matched by the speed of the Strider. It could be that like the tanky one is kind of overpowered, or maybe the speed is overpowered. I think they're really going for it with this game, and all this stuff that they have to balance, it's going to be a task, and they're probably going to have to adjust things, through beta and then just through the actual life cycle of the game. But there's so much reward, because if all of this stuff does work out, or not perfectly even, if it works out moderately well, I think they have like a really nice game with just like all the customization and all the different things you can do.
It's a step up. It looks like they're adding new features we haven't seen before, and that's cool. I think that what they're trying to achieve with the different Titans is the fact that you can kind of counter any other strategy the other team's playing. So if they all get big tanks, you can run around circles and maybe attack them in a vulnerability in their armor.
You can flank them, and
Sure. I think that they'll balance that out, like you said. I think it might take a little bit of time, but the advantage of just having 3 rather than a lot of mech games, if you're focused on the mech genre, have lots and lots. They could have up to 40 or 50, and they really have to balance those. For the advantage of, if they even have a couple people on their staff that have experience with mechs and like that and balancing, they can balance out 3 without a problem. And so that shouldn't be too bad of an issue, I don't think. But like you said, it might be a bit of a challenge at the beginning. A point that you had before is you had an issue with how they might balance mechs with possibly like the pilots just running without.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if one team just gets off to a really good early start, and say like, this is kind of an extreme, but say all 6 people on one team get their mechs before anyone on the other team does, is that gonna just completely destroy that game? Like, is it just going to be a blowout from there, or is there going to be a chance that the pilots can do some sneaky stuff to, I think I saw in some of the gameplay they had rocket launchers and stuff. Are they going to be able to effectively take them out like that? Are they going to jump on their back and rip their guts out? Like I saw that too. How is it going to be if you are sort of outmatched early on? I'm really interested in how that'll play out.
I think one thing they're doing to counter that is even the fastest Titan, so the Strider, it looks like is not, just from the stuff I watched, is not as fast as infantry, and it's not as nimble. You can't go inside a building. You can't. This game is really being marketed in a lot of ways to not just be like COD, but kind of be different and better in certain ways than COD and traditional FPS shooters, where the play style is more vertical rather than just horizontal. So you can jump into a window, run through the room, jump up into the window frame, and spin yourself up onto the roof to get away from something, rather than just running down an alley, down a lane, and getting direct shotted off of maybe some splash damage from a missile that maybe the Titan shoots at you. So it seems like a good way they're balancing that is, from what I've seen, is that you can not necessarily fight back, which there are aspects of fighting back, rockets, like you said, jumping on, taking out the guts, but also just being able to flee. You wouldn't necessarily pile up the deaths, and maybe you could take it.
Yeah, you could sort of slowly work towards objectives or something like that. Yeah.
And hopefully the game does a good job of pairing up people who are different skill levels and mixing the teams. That'll play into that whole thing of, if one team gets 5 mechs and the other team has 0, how does that play out? Hopefully, I mean, that's inevitably going to happen at some point, but what happens when, if that becomes a consistent thing and they need to balance the game to where it mixes teams fairly, or you're playing players of mixed skill levels, then you can get that as a good enough mix where it's not always like a domination, which sometimes you have in other games like Battlefield. I feel that sometimes, like, you get on a team where everyone's dominating you, or you're dominating everyone else. Sure.
Yeah, like Call of Duty, you get some of those full parties of, like YouTube people or whatever their situation is, and they just kind of know before the game that they're going to win, so they just go for the kills and dominate you like that. A lot of people are obviously going to try to do that. That's an effective strategy for having good stats and all that. I definitely want to see how that can be countered and how it all play out.
Good. Any other points you want to talk about?
I think we pretty much got it all pretty well here.
Yeah, I definitely say I'm looking forward to Titanfall. I'm excited that they're having an open beta for the community. I think that's gonna be sweet.
That's a great move.
It's definitely become something that is well beyond just indie games now. Like open betas are becoming super popular, even with mainstream games. We've seen Battlefield. We haven't seen an open beta from COD yet, but we've seen it with Battlefield and other games. So it's exciting that that's becoming more of a norm, and you get to kind of test games for free, in essence, like a really early version of the game. So, yep, cool, good conversation.
Hopefully the game turns out great.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
Well, there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about, some things we said, any other thoughts you have about Titanfall. If you liked what we had to say here, remember to leave a like rating on the video. That'll help us both out a lot. And go over and check out Antiplayer's channel as well. I'll leave a link in the description. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching and have a nice day.